My name is Shiro Komu and I'm the founder of Zazi. Zazi is a women empowerment platform and we are based in Nairobi, Kenya.
My name is Brenda Ogera of Ogera Law. Ogera Law is a legal firm based in Karen in Nairobi, Kenya.
My name is Disi Obanda of Jurabox. Jurabox is an African social enterprise specifically around the law. We exist to unbox the law to make the important things simple.
Welcome to episode 4 of Ladies and the Law. We are here again with the usual suspect, Brenda Ogera of Ogera Law.
And Shiro Komu of Zazi.
All right, back here to give you the information you need about you and the law. And I'm just thinking, what a time to be alive, people. For the first time ever in the history of this country, a woman has been nominated to be the Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya, the President of the Supreme Court. Yes, somebody say something. Let me hear.
Let us say her name.
Let's say her name, Martha Koome. Oh my God. This is exciting.
It is.
Just getting into what we are discussing today. Incidentally, there's things that she has said in her decisions in court, or her dissenting decisions in court, about what we're about to talk about today, which is property. So get your purses, get your title deeds, get your that's what we're going to be talking about today. Yeah, so what is yours is mine. What is mine is mine and yours is ours. What's your personal philosophy?
That one. What is mine is mine.
And what's yours is ours. Okay, so there's been, a lot of conversation around women and property and women's access to property in Kenya, the kind of laws that we have that are progressive-ish, but they still have lots of gaps. Shiro, where you're sitting, what are those things that as a woman you're like, okay, these are the things that I need to know. I need to know how this works.
Yeah, so first of all, as a Wanjiro, I'm very excited about this conversation.
This topic.
Anyway, we're talking about title deeds.
Yeah.
Say less.
Yes.
Say less. I am there.
Yeah.
But as women, obviously, as we go through the stages of life, it's easy when you're single. Because, nowadays we are securing the bag, We are winning in this life. And as a single person, it's easy to go and get yourself, something, acquire some piece of land, some house, an apartment somewhere. It's easy like that. But in certain situations, as you progress in life, say like in marriage, right? Or in a family setting where, say, there's loss of a parent or parents, for example, and I think that's where to start. In a family setting where, unfortunately, a parent has died or parents have died, and there's the issue of inheritance. And as women in this country or African culture, women should not inherit. And I think it comes from, so you'll get married and, your husband's...
Where you're going.
Yeah, there's something that's
for
yours.
you.
Know? So leave this one's here for us who have to marry, right? So I want to know, Brenda, is legally, I'm sure we've moved in some way, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've progressed. Are women allowed to inherit? Do we have rights over our parents' property?
Yes, we actually do. All children are considered equal nowadays. So by the law, every child, has a right to own the parents' property equally. Yeah, girls, boys. Is that regardless of the gender? So, but is that subject to your traditions or to your cultural law?
Yeah.
Previously it was, because that's what really governed inheritance.
Okay.
But there have been, progressive laws in recent times that have come up and said, all children are equal. Because previously you would find that some cultures would say what exactly you're saying. Yeah, the boys are staying, the girls are going, so the girls let them acquire from their, or rather through their husbands yes. While the boys acquired through their parents. But that has since been, removed and rubbished. So nowadays every child is equal in a home. when it comes to inheritance, you all inherit equally, regardless of your gender. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that you use the word rubbished.
Yeah.
So that's where it belongs.
That's where it is, though. But that's where it is, yeah.
This braid of mine
It's
coming into my face.
I wanted to laugh.
Cut off that part called this.
You're like,
Moving on swiftly. And in the case of loss of a spouse, for example, we've seen so many cases where women, all of a sudden you've lost your spouse, worst time possibly for you. But the family of the husband, the late husband, comes in and they want to own hini mali yetu, you know?
Yes.
And those cases are quite many. And obviously because of the limitations of access of law for women, many women are left without anything. So I don't know how women can prevent, and I mean, I know you're planning towards a very, you know, unfortunate result, but in what way can women, you know, just protect themselves from situations like those?
It is prudent to have wills, and that is something that I highly advise people to do, whether you're single or not, whether you're in a married relationship or not. Just ensure that you have your property, first of all, listed, and you have bequeathed your dependents, because that's the issue, but that's beside the point. So what I would highly advise women to do is ensure that your name is on the property that you co-own with your husband, because matrimonial property is for the both of you, for the benefit of the family. So it's important to have these properties enlisted in both your names, so that in the unfortunate circumstances, you know, in the unfortunate event that your husband passes on, you still have a right to this property. Because it's easier to prove that in court as opposed to not having anything in your name.
Would you qualify that though? Like what is matrimonial property? Because people keep hearing, oh, matrimonial property. What is that?
Basically, matrimonial property would refer to your matrimonial home. Yeah. This is the place where you have designated as your house, as your home for you and your family. Then it also refers to the effects, the household goods and the household effects that are in that home. So that qualifies to be matrimonial home. If you have a family business as well, that would definitely qualify to be matrimonial property as well, because it is purely for the benefit of your family.
The family.
Yes. Independently. Is that me? That's me. Cut. Why is my phone vibrating?
It's the other phone that's vibrating. Now that we are in the marriage, so I am looking to get married. This chick who has jipangad, you know. I'm a modern woman, independent woman, you know.
You have a couple.
So I've been working and I have a couple in Roy somewhere, you know. And whatever else I own. So now I'm getting into the marriage. Is this property that I had acquired, and even in the case of the guy, that we had acquired pre-marriage, considered matrimonial property when we come together?
No, it will not. Any property acquired before the subsistence of the marriage is considered personal property. Okay. So your car that you had before that marriage, that's yours. The plot that you had before that marriage, that's yours. But there's a twist. So if you owned property prior to the marriage, but later on, during the subsistence of the marriage, you both decide that, you know, this property that you bought in Rai, we can actually construct a home there and make that our matrimonial home. So both parties start contributing towards the construction of this home, right? And you eventually do that and get into that home. You live inside it, you have your children there, you raise them up in that home. Then now this man can actually claim a right to that home because it is now your matrimonial property. Yes. Have I made sense there?
Because they've developed the together. They've developed
so there's a contribution towards it. That's the key element in matrimony, in what you can determine as matrimonial property. There has to be a contribution between the two parties. And this contribution has to be for the benefit of the family. So those are the two things you have to establish. If those are present, then that can be declared as matrimonial property. Yes.
So speaking of contributions, let's say I'm a stay-at-home mom. We decided as a family that we want to have maybe a parent at home, or for whatever reason, really.
Right.
And the lady is a stay-at-home mom. So every time we think of contribution, we think monetary contribution. Well, ulitoa 300,000, yakatoa 300. So in the case where you are not financially able to contribute monetarily, what happens in that case? Do you have any right towards any of this matrimonial property? Let's say even it's things that were acquired within the marriage.
All right. Yes, you do have a right. Basically, what the law states is that contribution does not necessarily have to be monetary contribution. So that's key, and I think our women need to know that and understand that, because any contribution you make, whether it is through your actions, for instance, now the example that you've just laid out for us, where a woman stays back home, takes care of these children, ensures that the man has a nice home to come back to, supports this man emotionally, is always there for this man, that alone is contribution enough for you to actually lay claim to that matrimonial property. So it doesn't have to be monetary.
Okay. Brenda, does it work the other way now? That nowadays,
yes.
It could be that the woman is, the woman is at work. She's the one who has businesses, who's financially able, and the man is, I can keep the home. I'm great with the kids. I can farm. Make sure we have fresh food. I'm a chef. Does it work the other way as well?
Yes, it does. The rights basically should be equal to both spouses, where the man now takes care of the home, contributes towards taking care of the children, ensuring that there's food ready for this woman, while the woman secures the bag. Same rules apply. So what we need to realize is that spouses have the same equal rights that apply to them. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe the other thing I want to ask is, in the situation we have acquired, however contributions were monetary or non-monetary, whatever the situation is, we have acquired something, some property within the marriage. Is it in everyone's best interest for both names to appear on the deeds or whatever it is? Is that the best case scenario?
Totally. It's highly advisable that as a couple, when you acquire property, have both names in your title deeds, or registration certificates, whatever it is, depending on what the property is.
Yes.
So it's highly advisable that both parties ensure that their names are on those title documents.
But now, because we live in this society of ours where man is head of the house, right?
Yeah.
Which, for whatever reason, also means man's name appears on the deed or whatever certificate that is. How can, women, in case of any eventuality, right? Because the law is there to protect us, right?
Yeah.
So in case of any eventuality and your name is not on that title deed, how can women protect themselves from an eventuality where you're left with nothing?
Yeah. It's unfortunate that people get into marriages, not with the idea that one day it's gonna end, and so we have to put my name here, but it does. So just to protect yourself, it is highly important that you have your name on that title document. Should you not be, able to do that because of your man is either those men now that you're saying, then now it's just important as a woman to ensure that you can be, able to prove one day, should it happen, that you actually contributed to the acquisition of this property. So it is very key that you can detail the kind of contribution you did. So if you contributed 10 shillings on this particular day, you can do it through your bank. So one day you have a whole statement of accounts that shows this money was wired to Mr. Man on this particular day towards the construction of our home.
So basically, keep records.
It's important to keep records. It is
the
high.
receipts.
Keep receipts. Keep receipts.
Keep M-Pesa statements.
Yes. Yes.
And let him know that it's not that you don't trust him. It's just that,
yes, it
you're
might
prioritizing yourself.
Exactly. Basically, there's a history to this. Previously and initially, it was that just the same way you say the man is the head of the home, so he holds the title in trust. Exactly. For the family. That is what it really was.
Actually, some of the arguments I've seen is, but what is mine is ours. So that's exactly why, if it's just my name on the title, it's okay. Because what is mine is ours.
Is ours.
Yeah.
That really gives me some anxiety, honestly.
No, it does.
Is that why we are now signing prenups?
Highly key. We need to, by the way.
We do?
But I'm old-fashioned.
I think I need to ask here whether people sign prenups.
From a legal standpoint, I would advise it. From a personal standpoint, we could.
Are you sure? Are you sure?
I'm sure.
I'm happy for
We
you.
could, yeah.
So I don't know. I know they are not very common. When we hear prenups, we
Not
think
in Kenya.
of the celebrities in the Western world.
Beyonce.
But in your day-to-day work, have you had requests for
None at
such?
all.
No,
None at all.
not at all.
None at all. It's always the after. So it's always separation, divorce. That's what we're always talking about with clients, or at least the matters that have come before me. Yeah, with my clients, I've never got a client who's asked that. Yes, can we do this? Let's do a prenup. Yeah, I'm about to
and
get married.
ideally, because the property before doesn't fall under matrimonial property, what does the prenup now consist of, really?
The prenup is basically it can be two-pronged. It always consists of the property that both parties have acquired before. So you just lay it bare. Okay. I have this going into this marriage, right?
It's not yours.
It's not yours. So that's part one. Part two, whatever we acquire, this is how we are going to divide it. You get? Yes. That's basically what should go into the prenup. So it's about property owned before, property owned during, and division of property after. And as well as the dogs, the cats, the children custody,
too,
etc. People, some spouses actually want to put that down. If we have children, of course, I'll go with them if they are up to this age or whatever. You know, you put in your demands and your ultimatums there, right?
And you've agreed ahead of time.
And you've agreed ahead of time, and you sign it off. But of course, you shouldn't coerce the other party, because again, if you do that, then it might be termed as
void. Huh?
Yes.
Okay. So I hear they also post-naps. So we've already gotten into this relationship. And for whatever reason, you're looking at this situation and you're like, hey, here there'll be problems. Maybe you're in there and you're like, hey, this one looks like I may need to exit in the next.
It's heading there.
But this person is coming in a certain way I'm not very comfortable with. So in the marriage, you can do post-nap.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
You can.
Okay.
Basically, you know the way people always joke around that marriage is a contract?
Yeah.
It kind of is.
It really is.
It really is. So it's just about what you and your husband will agree on, and moving forward, you execute that. Yeah. That's not where I sit. You said it well. I'm a sound. Oh yeah, sound.
Yeah. 30, 35, 38.
Let's talk about businesses. So we are business owners, or one of us is a business owner. Let's say I was running a biashara pre-marriage. I would assume that remains as that, yeah? Let's say we start let's say we start a business as a family in the marriage. That is to the benefit of the family, yes? But what about I, Shiro, married, I start a business within the marriage. What happens in that situation? Is this considered ours or is it yours? What is the case in that?
That would depend. It depends if the man is joins you into that business and takes a role, in whatever position in that company. So if that is just for you, he may claim as a co-director, not even in terms of matrimonial property.
It's not even matrimonial.
It's not even
now.
matrimonial property. That's partnership, really. So it's about.
It's like any other
company
business.
laws, exactly. The company laws would actually guide you on that. But should he join you in terms of progressing this business for the benefit of the family, directly benefiting the family, then now that becomes matrimonial property, and he may actually have a lay stake to that in that regard.
But my question though is this phrase benefit of the family is so vague. I mean, as long as you're in a marriage,
actually
anything
for me,
you
as
do
long as
really,
you're working, you're doing this for the family.
Yeah, so
true.
I mean, how do you argue that, okay, this was not for the benefit of the family? This biashara over here I've been running by myself is for my benefit.
I think the judges actually saw that, and that's why we have so many decisions and eventually our laws coming up and actually stating what matrimonial property is. And that's why they stuck at three things. That's the matrimonial home, that's the family business, and that's the household goods. End of story. Okay. So you cannot say that your salary that you earn every month, since it's for the benefit of the family, but I can't come as your husband and say, yes, give me half of that, or your savings, or whatever it is. You understand?
Okay.
Yeah. So I hope it's clear now.
So everything else is up for discussion.
Everything else
away
is up
from
for
these three things.
Everything else is up for discussion, and you have now to prove that yes, this business that she had, or this thing that she was doing, or this property, this is a property that she had was for us. So unless you can prove that, it does not amount to matrimonial property.
Okay, so my chama savings and investments are mine and mine alone.
Yes.
Okay, good to know.
Yes.
Yeah. Brenda, I just have a general question around the law relating to women and property in Kenya. It's changed over time. It's continuing to change, but it's said that there are a few gaps, and there's the way that judges interpret it, like for instance in terms of split of property. It's not even, it's not uniform the way that's done. Could you comment on that? On the gaps in the law generally?
Yes, there was a massive gap initially. Let's take it back, and that's why new laws came to being that matrimonial property should be split 50-50, right? Because people realized that women would always fall short when divorce came by, right? So while that happened, the courts also realized that now these very women would be trying to get into relationships or into these marriages, knowing that at the end of 5 years I'm out, and at the end of it all, 50-50,
50%
right?
is mine.
Yes. So judges have also become radical over time. So these guys actually started and thought, no, we cannot keep doing this, because there's cries from the men and there's cries from the women. At the end of it all, it's justice that these people seek. So it is for that reason that it came to be that your contribution to the relationship is what matters. So you cannot be, as Brenda, I'm in a married relationship right now, thinking that yes, should we, in the unfortunate event that we divorce, 50% is mine outright. No, it is not. You have to prove that this is what I contributed, and actually this is what I'm claiming for. Just the same way my husband may have to prove that this is what I contributed and this is what I'm claiming for. Okay. So yeah, there's been gaps, but over time the judges and the courts and the legislations have also tried to evolve with time so that this is covered.
That they clarify.
Yes.
But what about the question that Wanjiro asked earlier about you giving a contribution that's not
non-monetary?
Yeah, that's non-monetary. How are the courts going about deciding
Yes.
what that
The value.
amounts to. Yeah,
Yes.
attaching value
Yeah.
to that.
So basically, I mentioned that, you know, if it's non-monetary contribution, you just have to ensure that you have records. So I mentioned record keeping. You have to know that on this day, this is what I did. During this whole time, I've been doing A, B, C, D, taking care of the home, taking care of the children, ensuring that this man is happy and, you know, at peace in mind, so that he can be able to go out there and seek for us, right? So all those, you have to document them, so that when it comes to it, before court, you can provide evidence that this is what I've been doing. So you have dates, you have timelines, you have details really of what has been happening in terms of your contribution to this family. Yes. So that is very key.
Wow.
So we stay journaling.
So you say
At the
keeping
end of the
records,
day.
yes.
Ladies, keep your journals. You know, I was the chef. I was the driver.
And to by the way, add on top of that, I think I didn't even finish
I
answering
was
your question.
the laundry.
To finish answering your question, the courts have discretionary powers. So as Shiro, you'll come, I used to do ABCD, then the court will actually, it's up to the judge to actually look at that particular contribution that you've proved before court that you used to do. Now that's when the court will be like, okay, you are equal to 25% of the matrimonial property, or 30 or 50, however the case may be. So really, at the end of it all, is to the discretion of the court. Yes. Okay. To now really answer your question. Wonderful. But you have to prove your contribution.
So all those online cookery courses you've been taking, note them, because that's what makes you a chef, you know, and gives you higher value.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So I mean, there we have it. So in conclusion, what are we challenging women to do or not do in relation to them and their property? Where I sit, I'd say, formalize your unions, formalize your separations, journal,
Yeah.
make your own money.
Yeah, secure your bag.
Secure the bag.
And make sure your name is on that.
And make sure
deed.
make sure your name is on the documents. That's what I'd say. Any additions?
I think you've said it all for
Yes.
me, really. Yeah. And that's formalizing your marriage, very key. Very key.
And that's on period.
That's period.
Wonderful. I hope that this has been insightful. I mean, the whole point behind this pod is to get you to know what's out there, to know what you need to know, and what the law says. So I hope you've learned something. So stay tuned for the next one where we end the unions.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.